Financial statements are prepared according to a set of rules. In accounting, we call these rules, they have a special name. In fact, you get an accounting degree and that's what you learn. Everything you learn in all of your classes is about the rules, about the way you prepare financial statements. Those rules are called generally accepted accounting principles. Generally accepted accounting principles, and the acronym that we throw around all the time is GAAP, GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. These come from two sources. One, we don't talk about much, but let me just mention it first, is that accountants do things because all the other accountants do them. Okay, do it this way. It's generally accepted. So if you are doing your bookkeeping the same way as everyone else and you're doing your financial reporting the same as everyone else, there's sort of a safety in numbers. The second part of it is the second way we get information, or get the rules, is from the standards boards that have sort of a quasi-political government legal standing. These are boards that dictate the way we're supposed to be doing accounting. In the world right now, there is worldwide, I should say, worldwide, there is one big one called that is that we get a lot of our information from is the International Accounting Standards Board, IASB, International Accounting Standards Board, and they produce standards. Those standards are called IFRS. So if you're around accountants much, you will hear them mention IFRS. Those are the worldwide rules on the way to do financial reporting. Uh, Almost every country in the world has adopted them, and I will put on the screen here the website that you can use to check whether your country's standing with them. Now, this again, to be clear, this is not the same as the rules that are coming out of your regulatory agency. Your regulatory agency say you have to report to them donations calculated this certain way. Well, you have to do that, but that doesn't mean you don't also calculate the donations according to IFRS. So there's a little bit of conflict coming from all governments, but it's okay. The regulatory agencies, they have their job. It's to regulate the nonprofit industry. The financial reporting standards coming from your same government who've adopted IFRS, they have their rules, and that's to set standards for external reporting. Two separate rules which you can comply with both of them. You can provide information according to both ways. So almost every country has adopted IFRS. The countries that haven't are working toward adopting or moving toward IFRS. For example, the United States and Australia right now are a little bit different from IFRS reporting rules, and uh, and so they have a little bit of a problem that has to be untangled. Okay, now this picture that I'm showing you now sort of lays out the way the church looks at the reporting rules. There's the foundational standards, that's the IFRS rules, that are the rules about how we do accounting, and that's a regular commercial and nonprofit rules. And then on top of that, we have churches' supplementary requirements. Okay, and that put together produces the SDA financial reporting framework. Okay, so we have sort of the standards set by the uh, external boards. Then we have the church's requirements you have to do on top of that, and that those together produce what we call the SDA financial reporting framework. And that's what guides us as treasurers. The supplementary rules in the church have several implications. Let me just run through them real fast. First off, most of the IFRS rules are all the accounting rules give options. that give you several different ways of doing something, and that is okay. But the church, in most cases, stipulates what they want you to use. Okay, the denomination says even though IFRS rules say you can calculate depreciation many different ways, we want you to use straight line. Okay, sometimes the church has information that it wants on top of IFRS rules. For example, we require a working capital calculation to be put in the notes of the financial statements. You're complying with the rules, but you're giving extra information. And so basically, the church is prescribing how you relate to those IFRS rules in a way that brings about the uniformity that we talked about in the last video. So I hope that makes sense to you. And then one other thing, besides asking additional information from you, we put out reporting rules that really aren't so much about the information and how you prepare the information, but the church stipulates in the accounting manual, for example, and policy, how often you have to make financial statements and who are supposed to get a copy of it and so forth. For example, 9 out of the 12 monthly financial reports must be provided to the organization's administrative officers. So if you're the president, you're supposed to get at least 9 monthly financial statements a year. And then 4 monthly financial statements a year are supposed to be going to your controlling board and to the officers of the higher organization above you. Well, we're coming to the end of our video. There are a couple loose ends. First off, we will never knowingly make a policy or a standard that conflicts with the IFRS standards. So if you feel that there's some sort of conflict, then you can let us know. And the second is that you can modify your financial statements within the constraints that IFRS and the church standard sets. You can modify your financial statements to include additional information, either information that your government requires or to include information that you think would make your financial statements more clear or put a spotlight on issues within your organization. To recap, we tried to build uniformity and to get us all on the same song sheet by adopting IFRS accounting standards for the world church. Almost every country allows it. Okay, all of the European Union, almost every country allows IFRS as the accounting standard, and the church has adopted that because it then allows us, almost everyone, to be making financial statements the same way. And then we've added to that a few things which are additional information, and we have within the scope of things given by IFRS, we are specifying how we like things done within the scope of what IFRS allows. That was the depreciation example where we say we want to, much as possible, use straight line. So that wraps it up for us. Our next video is on who are the users of the financial statements. Understanding who the financial statements are pointing toward helps you understand why we do the things we do.